The Office of the Prime Minister Press Office is the primary liaison between the Fourth Estate and the Office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet.
Every day, we are working to build a more inclusive economy and a stronger, safer country.
Hear all of the latest developments as the Davis administration carries out the broad mandate of progress and change. Our live weekly press briefings provide full access to current newsmakers on the most topical issues of the day. We facilitate prompt responses from cabinet ministers on the latest reports and get answers on the issues that matter to you.
Will any penalties be levied against the company?
OPM Press Now, keeping you in the know.
The Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press conference keeps Bahamians in the know. Each week, we also feature a new Bahamian food business.
Many of these businesses were started during the pandemic, and they really highlight Bahamian resilience and ingenuity. Today, we have
Kathy's Bakery,
Nutty Bavarian Bahamas.
proud owner of Sensational Goodies Pastries.
Get your small business featured in the weekly OPM press conference and share your dream with the country.
Good morning to our guests and to the media joining us here today and on the live. It's a pleasure to have you here as we continue with our weekly press briefing here at the Office of the Prime Minister. I would like to let you know that we have a very informative lineup for you today, and so without further ado, I will invite Press Secretary Kishla Adderley.
Thank you, Italia. Good morning, everyone, and I just want to apologize for the late start. Thank you for coming. We'll jump right into it. This week, we saw the government publish the names and businesses and related information in accordance with the Public Procurement Act. Now, this morning, the Minister with Responsibility for Economic Affairs, Senator Michael Halkitis, will discuss that process, how it will be run going forward. Many of you also reported this week on the European Union's conclusion that the Bahamas will remain on a blacklist. We will also discuss some of the impediments to the Bahamas being removed from that list and a campaign that the Davis administration has undertaken to cause for the UN to become involved and with a view to ensuring that the sanctions or the process is fair and those sanctions aren't imposed arbitrarily. On another matter, the Bahamas will this month host a major cybersecurity conference. Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Wade Watson, will tell us what some of the goals of that conference are. We're also talking climate change this morning, a major initiative of the Davis administration. We are talking about major educational opportunities which will be made available to Bahamians, a fully funded PhD program in particular. We'll tell you how you can benefit from that. We also have Mrs. Cheryl Walking here this morning, who is a major advocate against violence in any form. She'll tell us about a major event that she will be hosting along with her associates to counter violence in the country. And if you have a sweet tooth, you're in luck today. Glazed Bakery is here. They're our business of the week, so we will see what tasty treats they have to offer. But without further ado, we will start things off with Senator Michael Halkitis.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Mrs. Adley. Good morning, everybody. I will be very, very brief this morning, and then I would, with your permission, just introduce Parliamentary Secretary Watson to talk about the cybersecurity conference that's going on now. I know time flies. It's going on now. Started yesterday. Very, very exciting conference that Parliamentary Secretary Watson will discuss. But good morning to all, and good morning to those watching. I just wanted to give a quick update. As Mrs. Adley said, I was here, I think it was week before last, and the question arose about the publication of awarded contracts under the Public Procurement Act, and we have begun the publication late last week. And as I indicated, that will be an ongoing process as contracts are awarded. the information will continually be updated. It took some time to get to this point, and as I said, when I spoke a week before last, it was a matter of making sure we put in place the proper, first of all, the staffing, the procurement board, the chief procurement officer, training of all the officers and all of the government agencies, so that we can get to this point where the reporting is done. There are some agencies, for example, who still have their own individual procurement processes. They are following the law. They have to follow the law in terms of the bidding and the tenders committee, et cetera, and those will eventually be integrated into the central portal. But very happy to get to this point that many of you have had questions on over the past few months. And the other issue is, as Mrs. Adley said, in the press today, earlier this week, was the issue of the Bahamas remaining on the EU blacklist. And I just wanted to reiterate the point that was made in the press release that the Ministry of Finance issued on the day last week. And the point is this: there is a committee called the Forum on Harmful Tax Practices, which unfortunately, and we do not agree with their assessment, they assessed the Bahamas as non-compliant on certain issues, particularly related to substance. There was a number of things that we had to do, inclusive of making some amendments to our Substance Reporting Act and putting in a new reporting portal, migrating information over from the former portal into this new portal. What the schedule goes something like this: that Forum on Harmful Tax Practices has a meeting next week, which we will be attending, myself along with a team from the legal unit of the Ministry of Finance. And at that point, we will be able to give a report to that forum on the things that we have done. And we are cautiously optimistic that the steps will then be taken for them to deem us compliant. And following that, when the EU has their next meeting, we are looking forward to be able to have a favorable outcome from them. And so what it is that not that the Bahamas has not taken these steps, it's that the Forum on Harmful Tax Practices makes an assessment and the EU takes into account their assessment. So the EU met first. They do not have the benefit of the information that we will give to the forum next week. We met with them before and we made that point that, listen, the Forum on Harmful Tax Practice meeting is the week of the 23rd of October. Can you wait? No, our meeting is now. So my point is, we have not been standing still. We have taken into account the issues that they raised, even though we do not think that they should have arisen to the point of being non-compliant, but that's their process. We've made the changes that they recommended in terms of amendments to the CESRA legislation, which is substance reporting legislation, migrating information to a new portal, et cetera. The wider point I want to just flag, and we'll be discussing this as time goes on, is our view that we should move this whole issue of who is compliant from who is not compliant out of the hands of the OECD and the European Union to the United Nations, who we think would be a more independent arbiter of this whole issue. We do not think that jurisdictions who are in competition with us and other jurisdictions in terms of financial services should be the judge and the jury of who's being compliant in terms of their tax standards. As a matter of fact, there's an initiative, there should have been a meeting on this coming Monday in Barbados to discuss that very issue. Unfortunately, that meeting has been postponed, but there is momentum building in the region, in what we call the Global South, in certain places in Africa and the East, that we need to change this calculation, who determines who is compliant from non-compliant. That's gaining momentum. We want to see it go to the UN, who has no interest in competing for financial services. And so I wanted to make that point that it's a matter of scheduling. We have not been standing still. We have done a lot of work, and we are optimistic for a positive outcome. We don't agree with the process, but as it stands, that is what we have to react to. As Mrs. I'll be available for questions at the end because I want to make sure everybody gets the time in. As Mrs. Adley said, we have ongoing now a cybersecurity conference being sponsored by the Organization of American States in conjunction with the Government of Bahamas and the IDB. Over at Bahama, we have delegates from around the region, and I'll ask Parliamentary Secretary Watson to come and say a few words about the conference and why it's important to us and some of the things that we're doing to protect our information that's online and some of the initiatives we have in terms of more government services online. So, Paul Watson.
Good morning, and thank you, Minister. Good morning, all, and again, good morning, Bahamas. As mentioned, my name is Wade Watson, the Parliamentary Secretary within the Ministry of Economic Affairs. It is a pleasure to be here this morning to provide the country at large information about a very important conference that is currently being hosted by the Government of the Bahamas in association with the Organization of American States. The Department of Information and Communications Technology, the Digital Transformation Unit, and the National Computer Incidents Response Team under the auspices of the Ministry of Economic Affairs are the lead agencies of a government responsible for spearheading this particular event. This conference is the 9th edition of the Organization of American States Cyber Security Symposium Conference 2023. Which is being held from the 17th to the 19th of October at the Bahama Convention Resort at the Grand Hyatt Convention Center. As the government of the Bahamas seeks to advance its digitalization agenda, this conference is extremely timely, and we are pleased to partner with the Organization of American States under the auspices of the United States government. The symposium seeks to foster the exchange of information, provide training, as well as heighten the awareness about cybersecurity globally, but more specifically within the Americas. The target audience and stakeholders of this particular symposium are cybersecurity professionals, organizations, key stakeholder decision makers, and cyber incidents specialists. This symposium will provide entities from the public and the private sector the opportunities to demonstrate their products, their tools, and their services while engaging with counterparts and leaders in the cybersecurity space. It is expected that the conference will include innovative technological activities to engage the participants and raise their understanding and appreciation of cybersecurity. The government is advancing full-fledged with its digitalization efforts, and as we seek to improve efficiencies within government and ease of doing business, cybersecurity is extremely important. Therefore, the government is in the process of completing and revamping the government's official website. We are also continuing the process of finalizing the framework for procurement for the National Digital EID for Bahamians and legal residents. We are working on bringing more services online, and our digitization efforts within government continues to increase as we seek to digitize more government records locally and within our ministries and departments. Therefore, as we seek to increase and bring more services online, we as a government think it's important and vital to ensure that customers and clients of the government are secure when transacting with government and government ministries and departments. Hence the importance and the timeliness of the cybersecurity symposium. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Alcides and Mr. Watson. We'll save their questions until the end so that we can move along. We are also happy today to welcome officials from the Climate Change Unit within the Office of the Prime Minister. So we will welcome them now as they discuss exciting opportunities that young Bahamians may be able to take advantage of. Specifically, as I said earlier, a PhD program on matters related to climate change. So we let you know how you can benefit from that.
Good morning, Bahamas. So the government of the Bahamas, through the Prime Minister's priority mandate on climate change and education, is expanding opportunities for young adults, young Bahamians, to be empowered in the climate space through educational platforms which champion solutions to the ongoing climate crisis. As the month of October is National Youth Month, we are excited to share and pleased to announce a new opportunity for young Bahamians. The Climate Change and Advisory Unit within the Office of the Prime Minister has partnered with Deep Science Ventures on the launch of their fully funded doctorate program available to Bahamians to advance global energy, food security, and climate resilience. We are encouraging young Bahamians to apply as this process gives them an opportunity to expand their education, explore solutions to fundamental problems such as the climate crisis. It also gives them an opportunity to network with other innovators and researchers from around the world within their relevant fields, and it also opens opportunities for employment. And so we know that there are so many bright and influential young minds here in the Bahamas, and sometimes they just need an opportunity, and this is that opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to see the world. It's an opportunity for them to take advantage of a fully funded doctorate program. All they need to do is apply. And so at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Thane Campbell, a young Bahamian and Dean of the Venture Science Program, to give you more details on how you can apply and additional benefits of the program. Dr. Campbell.
Good morning, all. Good morning, my fellow Bahamians. It's an honor and a real privilege to be able to work with CO2 and the Office of the Prime Minister to bring this opportunity to you to create technologies, high-impact science companies, and bring jobs to your communities here in Nassau and Grand Bahama and Eleuthera and all around our archipelago. I had to leave home to pursue my PhD in medical imaging and the immune system. And that doesn't have to be the case anymore for Bahamians who want to pursue science innovation. You can take this venture science doctorate here, online in year one, wherever you are in the diaspora around the world and here in our islands. This is an opportunity to work with the world's most entrepreneurial labs, but it's also an opportunity to work very closely with Deep Science Ventures. And so I want to tell you just a little bit about this game-changing company and what we're doing today. We have built 39 companies in clean energy, food security, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, and also computation sectors. And the portfolio of companies that we've built is valued at $1/3 of $1 billion. And we've worked with people like Gail Global Shaw, who has built a company called Mission Zero. And this is a absolutely game-changing direct air carbon capture technology. The company is backed by Bill Gates through Breakthrough Energy Ventures, Elon Musk through winning the X Prize. And so we are encouraging Bahamians to apply and to think very big with us to create those kinds of opportunities here in the Bahamas. And we're talking about companies like Rhizocor on the agriculture side, who have engineered fungus to make trees better at capturing carbon dioxide from the environment. They're doing incredible things and expanding now into Australia. And so the opportunities that you can create by applying your creativity in science innovation can really expand beyond the Bahamas, beyond the Caribbean, and to create global solutions for food security and for climate change. We're encouraging people to apply today, and I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone who finds this opportunity interesting, even if you don't have a science undergraduate degree or master's degree at the moment, because really what we need are those innovators who are driven, who have determination, who have a magnetic personality, who have expertise in terms of their logical and critical thinking. And so we want to hear from you, regardless of what your background might be, and we want to open the stage for you to invent with us and to really build up the Bahamian economy, our blue and green economy. The rest of the world is waiting for these solutions. They want to hear from us. They want to hear from people of color, from people from the Caribbean, where we are really experiencing these climate change issues in a different way from the rest of the world. And there's a huge global movement to diversify and be more inclusive in our science and innovation training. And so I encourage you and I implore you to take the opportunity to work with us. Invent your technology. Build that technology out with the world's most entrepreneurial labs, from Cornell University in the US to King's College London in the UK and beyond. And we are excited to hear from you and to expand this opportunity with CO2. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting initiatives indeed. Right now, we are going to invite Cheryl Walking and her organization, who are friends of the Gender Affairs Unit in the Ministry of Social Services, and who has committed to much of her life to countering violence in all forms. She'll tell us about her latest initiative.
Happy morning, Honorable Minister and members of the press. The mission of Marriage, Children, Family Alliance movement is to cultivate lit and happy families. Our beloved country is in a violence, family climate change crisis, which has imposed on and ultimately threatens our human right of happiness and abundance. Our children are desperately crying. Families are suffering financial, emotional, and relational turmoil. Suicide and suicide attempts are rising. Our girls are cutting themselves. Our boys are digitally mastered. Our Black men are killing each other on the streets. Our women are fighting over men. Husbands and wives are at war. Siblings don't speak to each other. Associates resent each other. Organizations are power mongers, undistracted in their focus to generate the next dollar by any means necessary. Road rage is menacing. Anxiety and anger permeate our communities. Our homes are absent of the collaborative presence, protection, covering of a father and mother, and our eternal Creator God is a far afterthought, if a thought at all. We can no longer delude ourselves in thinking it's better in the Bahamas is a fixed concept. Put our heads in the sand and hope our butt doesn't show, or its excretion will not stink or hurt. The economic, societal, cultural, generational survival of our nation, our future, our legacy is at stake. This is not a gender-based violence problem. This is a family-based violence problem. Eradication of pervasive, burdensome, heart-wrenching, mind-boggling societal violence in our nation must engage loving, intentional, and truthful, lit measures emanating at the foundational, immutable family level. This begs an urgent, multicultural, multidimensional, multi-level address with all minds, hearts, and hands on deck to share relevant critical information, research-based experiential knowledge, insights, innovative policy, parenting, and programming solutions, and proactive strategies to arrest these wicked social, economic, and cultural problems rooted in family value dysfunction, degradation, and unmanaged conflict. In this, our National Youth Domestic Violence Recognition Month, nonprofit organization Marriage Children Family Alliance Movement, MCFAM, and the Bahamas Strong Families Forever campaign invites your valued national development stakeholder participation and presence in the Family Protection Against Family Youth Violence, a 2-day policy parenting program, PPP, conference workshop at Super Club Breezes, October 30th and 31st, 2023, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. This critical forum invites the economic and social responsibility investment of, and I'm grateful to have our Minister Halkitis here, public, government, and private business organizational leaders, human resource management professionals, educators, students, social service workers, youth leaders, child care specialists, CSOs, NGOs, FBOs, advocates, childminders, concerned citizens, and relational stakeholders. Our presenters include Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Civil Society Bahamas Director and former Senator and Director of SDGs, who will be speaking on the Hope of Family Address. We will also have Mrs. Gaynell Curry, who is a United Nations Sustainable Development Goals expert and UB professor, and she will speak about the national and global implications of violence. We'll also have Dr. Tim Rerick, who is a marriage and family advocate professor at BYU, Idaho, and he will be speaking about why family-focused public and private policies are needed, and he will also cover parenting in a digital age, pornography, male-female toxicity. Dr. David Burrows will speak about Does Marriage Matter? Mrs. Cleopatra Christie will speak on the Protection Against Violence law, which was recently passed, and the need for a properly structured transitional home. Dr. Teresa Moxie Adderley will speak on corporal punishment, yay or nay. And Dr. Sean Adderley will speak about the circular impact of marijuana, alcohol, drugs on the family. We will also have Mr. Keith Dean of the Business of Youth, helping our participants to better learn how to protect children against abuse and violence. And yours truly, Cheryl Walkin, will speak about fostering lit and happy families and communities, relational family development, Bahamas West programming. Proceeds will fund establishment of the first family foster youth transitional community home in honor of our dearly departed, the Honorable Obadiah O.B.H. Wilshcombe, Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting. We have found there are opportunities and gaps to be filled in building capacity of families holistically and preparing foster youth to becoming self-reliant, confident, and contributory members of society. The late minister, in discussions with our organization, shared his concern with the family absence environment of children's home. The envisioned Family Renaissance Village Home will provide exit training for foster youth in their last 2 years in the facility and their families in the area of life, family, relational, critical thinking, goal setting, decision making, financial literacy, work, career development, continued education planning, and specialized service training opportunities. We are grateful to be partnering in these initiatives with a number of organizations, of course, the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, Civil Society Bahamas, to name a few, and of course, we're grateful to have a representative from the Bahamas Christian Council, Reverend Aswad here along with me. UNICEF has called upon governments, businesses to redesign the workplace of the future to enable parents to give their children the best start in life while boosting productivity and women's empowerment. Not only is our family-friendly policies not only do family-friendly policies pay off in healthier, better educated children, they also produce better workforce productivity and performance. Every government, public, private, educational, SCO, FBO must feel compelled to have a representative present to add their contribution to this landmark family PPP conference workshop. Our nation's future literally depends on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Joaquin. I will now invite questions from members of the media for all of the guests who have addressed. Questions, I'll start with the Tribune.
Yes, my question is to Mr. Alquides about the procurement. Can you say if the government, when will the government be in a position to disclose contracts specifically before 60 days mentioned in the legislation lapse?
That should be ongoing now. So the process now is going to be continually updated. As they are what we call awarded, it'll be on the website.
What's your response to some allegations that some contracts were not revealed, specifically some of the Ministry of Transport contracts were not revealed in this procurement list?
I don't have any response. All right? The contracts that were awarded on the system, they will continue to be updated. We are complying with the legislation, but just as we have with the this whole EU blacklisting and thing, it seems as if some people are these goalposts continue to be moved. We continue to comply. We continue to train, provide the information. The public will have the benefit of it. We don't expect certain quarters ever to be satisfied, all right? So I don't have much to say other than that. I would really like to hear some more about CO2.
Further questions?
Any questions from you, Dave?
I prefer you do the guests first. Anyone else have questions for the guests? No? Okay, if you want to rush me up here, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, what's your question, Ariel?
Yes, my question is, when will we find out when the date of the by-election is? Because I know we heard from the parliamentary registry when there should be a time, but when will we hear it from the government?
Well, there is only one man who can make that announcement and who will make that announcement, other than to tell you that obviously that date is guided by the parameters outlined in the Election Act and the Act guiding by-elections. But that announcement will come from the Prime Minister in due course, and that is as much as I can say about that.
Okay. I know the PM said a couple of months ago that amending abortion laws to allow the procedure in some instances is something he would consider. Will the administration actively consider amending the abortion laws as opposed to just saying, let's have a national conversation on the matter?
Well, Ariel, I can't tell you that there is an active discussion on changing the laws related to abortion, specifically the terms under which one can legally have an abortion. Obviously, the issue was in the news lately because of some unfortunate circumstances. But if the outcry is, reaches the level where the administration feels that it should be pushed to the forefront and a wider conversation should be had, then the government will be minded to do so and engage all of the relevant stakeholders on the issue.
And of course, moving forward, is the PM will be launching a commission of inquiries, and can you give any details on that, on the commission of inquiries that you launched?
Well, look, the prospect of a commission of inquiry is still a proposal. There hasn't been any confirmation as to whether that will actually take place. My understanding is that depending on what ongoing police investigations are able to uncover, a determination will be made as to whether a commission of inquiry will be necessary. The COVID-19 pandemic and matters related to that, for example, are under investigation. The Bahamas, not unlike many countries of the world, are doing similar probes to figure out what went wrong, what lessons can be learned, and that is those are the reasons why investigations are ongoing. And again, the outcomes of those investigations will determine whether a commission of inquiry is actually necessary.
And then the last question for me is, what is the government's response to the immigration union saying it is unlawful for them to appoint a contract worker as head of the Department of Immigration? I think it's regarding the appointment of Mr. William Pratt.
Yes. Well, that conversation, as you know, was born out of a ruling that was made some time back in reference to a person who was appointed as immigration director who was not within the immigration department. And there was a ruling that obviously said that should not happen. And that is the basis on which I believe the union president that's what he was referring to. Now, Mr. William Pratt, who is acting immigration director, was within the immigration department, a career immigration officer. Now, what the Attorney General's office is doing at this point is reviewing that ruling to see if it applies under these circumstances. I'd hasten to add, though, that Mr. Pratt is fulfilling that role on an interim basis. In the meantime, the government is working on a succession plan so that a permanent immigration director will be put in place.
I just want to go back to the Commission of Inquiry's question. I asked that because there's a photo that looks like a Commission of Inquiry's building or signage on Britain Road if there is no proposal on the commission. So what's the explanation for that building?
Well, that building is actually going to be used as a Supreme Court building. That's my understanding. Exactly what it will focus on is still to be determined. I couldn't say for sure, but I can find out for you. Any further questions? All right, so ready for some sweets? Sorry? Okay. I'll invite Dr. Thane Campbell back again. We will talk about how you are able to apply for the PhD program, fully funded.
Thank you. You can apply for the Venture Science Doctorate by just Googling Venture Science Doctorate. You'll find our website. You'll also find the apply link through the news page on the Office of the Prime Minister's website. And I encourage everyone to apply. Just by going through the process, you'll see how we think and design companies a little bit, so it'll be well worth your time applying, and you'll get our feedback. This is a program that we are actively scaling year on year. So by 2033, we want to be training 1,000 venture scientists per year. And so we need to be helping people actually get through the application phases, and we'd love to hear from more Bahamians in this round of applications. And the deadline for our applications will be in March next year. So please do read around, go to the website, deepscienceventures.com, Google the Venture Science Doctorate. We can actually, from that page, you can download a whole program prospectus and read all the details of our program. We have 10 courses in the first year, leadership training, business finance, acquisition and fundraising training. Lots of great stuff in there for everyone. So please go to the Venture Science Doctorate website and apply before March next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
In terms of the prerequisites, you said that persons should not be an undergraduate.
Yes, that's correct. The question was about the requirements for the program. We are a diversity-first program as well as pushing venture creation. And so we recognize that education systems as they stand today don't always get people the degree that they need to compete for the next degree and the next opportunity. Being a venture creator, we really look for innovators. And if people meet our requirements in terms of their determination, magnetism, and expertise, and there's more details on that on the website in the program guide. If people meet our entry requirements, and we can see that there's an innovator in there who really wants to build a global technology and a game-changing company, then we're not held back by the normal barriers of other PhD programs. And I just want to add that our company has trained 4 times as many female founders than the average for UK university spin-out companies. So we're very proactive in this space, and we want to hear from Bahamians and people across the Caribbean, and the entry requirements of other programs won't apply here.
And the last question, the person needs to be interested specifically in climate change, or?
Yes, so climate change, clean energy, and food security are the real push now with C2O, and that's this round of applications. The Venture Science Doctorate is also currently recruiting for pharmaceuticals innovators and people who are into computation. But the specific partnership that we're talking about today is on those 3: climate, clean energy, and agriculture, food security. And I think there's a huge opportunity in the Bahamas to grow more of our own food. So let's get growing, and let's bring innovations back to this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of our presenters. Now, our final presenters will get us started off on lunch. It's almost that time. So I want to welcome our Glaze Bakery so they can tell you about their business and what they have to offer and sample today.
Good afternoon. My name is Levante Charlton, and I am ecstatic to be here to present my small business on this massive platform. A little backstory into Glaze Bakery. Glaze Bakery was established in 2019. After, I was always good in pastry and good with my hands, good in the kitchen. So following that, I went to the University of Bahamas, where I honed my skills. And eventually I leaned more into the pastry aspect of the art. So every now and again I would bake here and there for persons, and everyone would be like, hey, why aren't you selling this, You should turn this into a business. So after constantly being pressured, I succumbed to the pressure. I guess that's the only good time where, you succumb to peer pressure. So I applied for my business license, and I got the ball rolling. Now, how Glaze Bakery is operated, it's a home-based business, and it operates on a daily menu. And on Friday, we have retail. So anyone could just phone in, send an order, and we'll be happy to accommodate you. Now, Glaze Bakery sells a wide variety of items, particularly rolls. That's our main selling point. That's what people know us for, rolls. So today we have guava rolls, we have Oreo rolls, we have pumpkin rolls, we even have dinner rolls. So I know y'all want to get the ball rolling with the sweets, but I'm happy to take any questions if you guys are interested. Okay, you can reach me on WhatsApp. The number is 817-9201, as well as Instagram at _Glaze Bakery. And on Facebook, Glaze Bakery as well. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Glaze Bakery. Desserts on us today. All right, well, that does it for our weekly press briefing. I want to thank all of you for coming. Thank you for your questions, and enjoy the rest of your day.